welcome back. You're watching Kia's Luxe Life, where I bring you all things fun, beauty, luxury, lifestyle, and everything in between. If that's something you're into, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification so you're notified when I have a future upload. So y'all, I feel like it's only been a couple days and everybody is going absolutely berserk over the Jeannie Mai, J. Jenkins, Jeezy divorce. And and it's unfortunate. It's definitely unfortunate. Of course, no matter what the situation or circumstance is, of course, with any union, everyone, of course, wants the best for those individuals and wants things to work. And I think in this situation, it absolutely sucks. However, after taking a cute minute to kind of think about everything and how everything went through, I don't know if I'm surprised, and I'm going to tell you why. So, got the iPad out. You gotta turn it. Here we go. So y'all already know we're gonna bring you the deets. I'm gonna throw some stuff up on the screen. Now, just for some kind of context here, we're gonna talk about this post that Jeezy put up because I actually seen the post before I even knew about what happened between Jeezy and Jeannie Mai. So, Jeezy writes, and this is about 4 days ago, too focused on who I'm becoming to focus on who's not coming with me, snowman. Now, the snowman at the end was kind of like, I don't know if it was necessary, but he put the snowman out as kind of like, kind of deal. So I was kind of like, all right. Now, when I had initially seen the post, I was like, okay, maybe he's doing a brand deal. Maybe, something he's got going on with some other collab people. Maybe they didn't necessarily agree with what was what. Him and his people is moving on, making moves and continuing to move in a particular direction. And some of those other individuals that were rocking with him previously are not necessarily rocking with him for whatever reason or another. Then headline breaks. So if you don't know, Jeezy and Jeannie Mai were married. They married back in 2021, I believe it was. And the only reason I even know about that piece of it, rather than a lot of us know about it, is Jeannie. Jeannie was on the show The Real, that was with Lonnie Love, Tamara Mori Housley, Adrian Bylon Houghton. Jeannie Mai, of course, is on there. Tamar Braxton was on there for a period of time. Amanda Seales guest starred on there, and there were a few other guest stars as well, as far as like co-hosting. And it is an absolutely, it was an absolutely gorgeous show. They ran for a number of seasons. Also won Best Daytime Show as well. Won a few awards for that as well. And it was definitely a cool show. And in perspective to that, they talked about being women, motherhood, marriage, divorce, different things on there. And I think it was a really show that a lot of people could relate to. Now, prior to The Real, I also followed Jeannie when she was on, I believe it was called How Do I Look? And more specifically on How Do I Look, that's actually when I started watching Jeannie. So Jeannie had the show, again, fashion. She is Vietnamese. And she is an absolutely gorgeous, stunning woman. And I think with her, she was definitely, setting trends, doing her own thing. And I think that's why a lot of people rocked with her. Very transparent, unapologetically herself. And I think that's why a lot of people were like, you know what, I rock with that chick. Be that as it may, as things transition and then she went into The Real, she was married to a gentleman named, let me pull up his name, Freddie Hartis. Now, Freddie Hartis, I only seen him or really known about him from being on The Real. He had guest starred on The Real. They've done some shows together, some episodes together. He guest starred. And they were married for 10 years. So her marriage from Freddie actually kind of absolved while she was on The Real. And she did talk about it. She was very open about it. Again, very transparent that they were divorcing. And it seemed to be the hot topic issue at the time of what they discussed was children. I guess he wanted to move forward into the next chapter, start a family, have children, and she was not quite there yet, or maybe perhaps she didn't necessarily see that with him. Anywho, they ended up deciding to divorce and go their separate ways. Now, it's my understanding here, Freddie, again, was a television producer, outdoorsman, and professional hunter. So as it pertains to like status and cachet between Jeannie and Freddie, Jeannie's kind of like, the celeb type known person, whereas of course, some people knew him, but it seemed to be that more people knew him by association of Jeannie. Be that as it may, when Jeannie and Jeezy got married, Jeezy, of course, had his own cachet. He had his own following of people, being a rapper, being an author, doing different things there. And so does she. So I think, of course, that dynamic ends up being something different. But fast forward, they do get married. They do end up getting married during the lockdown. And I think that plays a big piece in potentially what necessarily happened here, because a lot of us weren't doing much. I mean, personally, for myself, I was working through the lockdown. I was blessed to continue to work through that whole period of time as an essential employee, but that wasn't the case for everyone. And certain things in the entertainment business, especially being face-to-face, it wasn't necessarily safe. So you had a lot of people that were kind of stuck in the house, stuck home, and being lonely was actually apparently a top thing. Like I said, I continued to work, so I continued to have that face-to-face interaction and continue to do that, being just the profession that I'm in. But that wasn't necessarily the case for a lot of people. So there were people that were, home that decided, you know what, let's try to figure this out. Let's make it work. Let's do home renovations. Let's have more family time. Let's have bonding, where they didn't necessarily have that before. And then you have other people that it gave them time to come together to say, you know what, we've been coexisting, but this marriage really isn't working, or this relationship really isn't working. And there were a lot of people that decided to separate or divorce during the lockdown, or at least get the paperwork and get the wheels in motion, have those conversations that probably should have been had long before. And I think that's exactly what happened here. Now, first thing here at the beginning, I mentioned I wasn't surprised. And part one to that is Jeezy has other kids. He's got other kids. I want to say he has at least 3 other kids. He does share a child with Jeannie, and that is gorgeous Monaco. She's absolutely stunning. And you'll see on Jeannie's feed, she does showcase Monaco quite a bit, as well as the mother. So Jeannie's mother, Jeannie did talk on the reel about how her dynamic between her and her mother weren't necessarily great. They had a falling out for a number of years. So it is nice to see them kind of, come together in a positive way, especially with her new grandchild, if you will. Anyhow, Jeezy does have, I want to say, at least 3 other children aside from Monaco. And the 2 other children, I believe, are at least with 2 different women. So again, and this is not me to say blended families can't work. I definitely think blended families can work. I think there's a place for it. I think it takes, of course, a mature sense of individuals to be able to come together to say this is the dynamic and everyone respects everyone. Everything is everything. But it doesn't always work. And in that particular situation, Jeannie knew about that earlier on, right? Because that was in motion already. For that reason, I would not have married Jeezy. I hate to say it that way. It's not my intention to be that chick, but that's the truth. I would not have married Jeezy for that reason. And I think it opens up the perhaps concern that, maybe baby mama 2, baby mama 3, baby mama 4, and then it just kind of leads to a negative connotation of, what is this actually about? Now, Jeannie, I believe she's 44, Jeezy 45. The court documents, or rather, it seemed to be that it was leaked. And the initial posting that I seen had the date that the notary signed. It was back in May of this year, which is like, okay, that's when, perhaps he presented it. I'm looking at it here. So the notary public here, okay, no. The notary public commission expired May 19, 2024, but it was actually done June 15th of 2023, where he presented it and said, hey, he appeared saying that he wants to file the complaint for divorce. So that was June 15th, 2023. However, when you actually get the document that was leaked, if you look at, I'm going to throw in a picture of it because this part is actually very important. When you look at it, it actually almost looks like there was an e-file situation by the Fulton County Superior Court. It said e-file, and it looks like the date says September 14th of 2023, which is just, again, a few days ago. So I'm kind of like, wait a minute. Everybody was like, oh, it was June, and everybody knew since June, and that's what was going on, so on and so forth. And I'm kind of like, well, wait a second. No, the e-file thinks that it was just done a few days ago. So I think a lot of folks are definitely looking into this and saying, was Jeannie blindsided, or was it that, they had been separated? Apparently reports have come out that they had been separated a period of time. But in the document in and of itself, Jeezy did list, as the filing says, the marriage of the parties are irretrievably broken and there is no hope for reconciliation. So it seems to be maybe Earlier this year, they decided to separate and part ways. And just in that time, unfortunately, things did not work out. It came to a particular point in time here in September where Jeezy said, you know what, it's time. We need to file. Based on this, there's no hope for reconciliation. Be that as it may, I did see on Jeannie's page just, you know, this last few days within this week, she was doing a prayer with Monaco. It's absolutely such a cute post. And in the prayer with Monaco, she did say, you know, thank you for your father. Thank you for Jeezy. And of course, his book that just, I guess, hit the bestsellers list. So she was talking about that on there and definitely, you know, supporting him through and through. So just kind of when his comment came back, you know, looking at his comment here at the beginning on that Instagram post where he's talking about too focused on who I'm becoming to focus on who's not coming with me, snowman. So I circle back to that only to say that who's not coming with me almost segues as to maybe an offer was made of some sort. And I don't know if, again, of course, Jeannie is more West Coast based. And I want to say his business was more Atlanta, East Coast based. And maybe it was time when he said, listen, we've been together a couple years. Let's, you know, move East Coast to try to figure it out. And Jeannie was maybe not rocking with that. So I definitely think there's some more to the story. I'm interested to see how this dynamic unfolds and the key points are more what comes out. To be honest with you, I think there's another baby Jeezy on the way. I think there's more going on behind the scenes. And I think, you know, earlier this year, they've decided that this endemic situation is kind of subsided. So people are more out, people are, you know, not with masks, people are kind of going about life, if you will. And I think, you know, Jeezy being in the scene, maybe being in the clubs, I think he's involved with someone else. I think it's a strange ordeal, a very, very precarious situation. But for that reason, I think maybe it is best that they, you know, split. I would rather see that. I mean, no one wants to see that, but I would rather see that than have, you know, other kids and other things popping up along the way and he's still married. So I'm interested to see. I think, of course, we all will not like truly know probably within this next 3 months, 6 months, and kind of see what's what. But definitely leave your comments down below. Do you think that they should try to work on things? Again, at 2 years, it was definitely kind of soon. And of course, what are you expected to see from Jeannie? Do you think Jeannie's going to come out and kind of say something or make a statement? Do you think she was blindsided? Again, the e-file statement says it was September, although they were separated. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.